Towards the end of the time Mirelle was open, the job of the showroom girl changed as changes to the fashion industry took hold, and in Hull as a city too. There's a distinct difference between Mirelle before 1970 and afterwards, partly due to the interplay between all those dynamics, which at the time some people in the fashion industry and those who lived in Hull recognised would be a permanent change, the reason why Peggy and Bill Wilson left Hull. Closing Story Street, from January 1971, customers walked past jewellery, dinner plates, luggage and cosmetics to find Mirelle at Carmichaels, the Harrods of the North, and there, after the move in December 1970, closing all previous locations, including the workrooms, Mirelle had a concession of their own, which you can find out about in the locations linked below. Mirelle at Carmichaels was on the first floor, and it was all changed for the showroom too. Joining in 1968 while still at Story Street, when Jackie Weinberg left in 1972, it severed the link between most of the established showroom girls from the 50s and 60s who'd emigrated, left Hull, set up their own business, or gone on to focus on the home. Similar to how the business ran in earlier years, customers at La Boutique could browse the rails, but it still offered personal service in the salon. Ivy McQueen was Boutique's manageress by now, Rene Pittaway there too. 16-year-old Maureen Gregory joined in 1974, training as a model at Houlton Grey, then leaving to work in the beauty business in 1976. Although based at La Boutique, she could cross the walkway and work either side if called upon by the senior staff like Mira Molly or Judith Tinney, the salon's first sales. Starting after the move, Judith thought she replaced Honor Dufton, the company owned by her family, selling number 11 Story Street, which you can see in the locations. Judith worked alongside junior Janet Ireland, joined by part-time staff like the cuddly Peggy Stone, who reappeared having been employed in the 60s, almost a decade before. Joan, Judith's mother, worked there as well before Judith left to have a baby in the summer of 75, eventually becoming a jeweller. If she hadn't, she would have ended up in the salons of Paris, she said. Mirelle, the best education to work in couture. In Carmichaels, high-quality fashions without the intensive and expensive sewing to create them were long stocked on their shelves, impeccably altered by the workroom girls. I was told they had very high standards, and if I wasn't prepared to roll out the red carpet, then I wouldn't be suitable, said Maureen Gregory. Such a rarefied atmosphere for a young girl. Inside Mirelle, the world stopped turning, retaining a class of service reminiscent of the opulent 1930s salons and rues of Paris, even when fashion for her 16-year-old friends had changed beyond recognition outside its walls. In 1977 they moved again, which you'll see in the locations video. There were far fewer people at the Centre Hotel on Paragon Street, but it was still headed by Mira, Molly and Mildred, head of the workroom, who you'll hear about in the workroom talk if you subscribe for it coming up. And as the salon and boutique became more blended, the business changed as well. After Judith and Maureen left in 1976, as did bookkeeper Betty, Janet Ireland came over to the Centre Hotel from Carmichaels, now much more than a junior and handling all showroom sales. From the boutique, Rene Pittaway and Ivy McQueen did as well, and the remaining workroom girls. But the shop was slower than beforehand. It had a smaller space to hold stock, and the business faltered as fashion moved on from the hand-picked designs of the years before. Built in 1968 and replacing the Imperial, the Centre Hotel was the most modern of all Mirelle's locations. Box-like and wide with square windows, the showrooms were visible at street level to all. Connected by an open doorway, The boutique and salon was open plan, making it more spacious and less traditional than any previously, a fresh start and modern outlook. But as the year drew onwards, they noticed a difference to what had happened previously, and the stock started to reduce along with the clientele. While they were at Carmichaels, large public fashion shows ground to a halt. The last in September 76, modelling considered far too expensive a way of selling clothes. Profit margins and their ability to order exclusive models grew thinner and thinner as labels ceased trading, like long-standing staples Robita Couture and Susan Small. You'll hear more about those labels and the fashions sold at Mirelle in the fashions video. Do you remember what it was like to shop in Hull in the 70s? Or maybe you even visited the Centre Hotel? Let us know in the comments below.